Hi friends, it's Sarah from Ruffles and Rainbows, and today we are going to talk about all manner of acrylic cake toppers, layered acrylic cake toppers, and even some specialty stuff about design that I really think you should know if you want to craft these items, especially if you're selling. If you do not know, we have a brand new laser group for crafters. Come over and join. I'll put the link below. Now, the first example I'm going to show you is with an SVG you just drag and drop in. We're going to identify what needs to be grouped together and go ahead and do that. We're going to select everything and make sure it's set to cut. And then we can decide a couple of things like materials. So I'm going to be using Hobby Lobby Gold Acrylic with 467 MP adhesive on the back and some green translucent X-Tool acrylic. So I'm going to have to turn this one off and turn this one on, and I'm going to measure what size I want my cake topper to be. You can see me and my respirator back there. I do practice what I preach. Get yourself a respirator when working with acrylic. So I do have the backing on half of this, which is raising it up slightly. However, if you have paper backing or paper masking you want to put on the back of it, you can go ahead and do that as well. I'm going to select everything and size it to my desired size, and I want to talk about this little material easy set library. When X-Tool spent all the time on this, I think it's a really good thing, not necessarily exact settings, but it gives you the perfect starting point. So I want to say if you can't find something, go down to one word, green transparent versus green translucent. I find it that way. When you click in here, it will load whatever machine you have connected, and you can see mine's the P2. We can come over here to processing type, choose whatever we want, but more importantly, it's saying 100 power, 20 speed, and if you click the open, you can see it loaded the material in for us, and if we click on our item, it actually loaded the settings 120 and 1. Now you can see it says reference. If we type in our own, it swaps to user defined. So I'm going to go ahead and do a setting. I like to use 55 and 1 for mirror acrylic, translucent acrylic, and clear. The reason is this produces the edge of a perfect edge. 85 and 12 for those of you who don't care about a perfect edge is for me. Now I do save the file, hit refresh, and then it will bring up what I have loaded. You can see I have put my material pins, everything down there. I've already done the thickness measurement, which is just that button over there. Now I'm going to do a close shot view. That is going to help me position my acrylic to the left and up at the top. I'm going to right click that image to delete it, and then we're ready to process. When I hit process, it's going to calculate the path and the times. So when I hit start, you're going to see an error message because we're at low speed of 5. However, I'm next to my machine. I'm going to hit start on the machine, and it's going to give me estimated time and the remaining time. I lost the footage for this, but here it is when it's cut out. You can see I'm using a pick, but normally I just pick it up with some Gorilla Tape. You can see those edges are just clean. Okay, so we're going to hit OK, and then we're going to put in our other material. This is the gold Hobby Lobby acrylic with the 3MP. You can see it, the 3M 467 MP, just stuck on the back like a sticker. Now I'm going to, clamp that down, make sure it's level. Go back into our machine, our software. We're going to turn off the background. We're going to turn on the foreground. Now, I get a lot of questions about this. I'm going to tell you my speed for this is 100. My power is 100. My speed is 5. So I'll enter that after I get my new dimensions here. And I'm going to change this so that you can see it a little better. I'm actually going to get in the close shot, click on the item, right click, and change it to a red layer so I can see the outline a little bit better on this gold. Now, I really don't have a problem with this Hobby Lobby acrylic, but I do believe that the acrylic from CMB and RZ Acrylics and Gold Glitter is just way more beautiful. So I use that. All right, so processing, again, it tells you the path. Hit start, it'll give me the error because I'm going only 5 speed, and then I process this on the machine. You can see it cuts it like butter. This is sped up. When we pull it out of the machine, or when it stops, you'll get this little task done. But when we pull it out of the machine, this has a couple of small pieces, so always be mindful of those. I like to pull this out, the big part, and you can see I'll actually really be gentle so that my tassel doesn't come out, because that will fall right through my honeycomb. Everything else is big and everything has that 3M backing, which makes it ridiculously easy to assemble. We're just going to pull off the backing and put it in place. I don't feel that you need any kind of scoring on these. They're really easy just to match up the bubbly outlines, but that's just me. You can make this in XCS, and I've shown how to add the offset on these. I do clamp this, clean it up, and get it ready. So now we're going to talk about how to make your own, and this is a single text. That's it. If you do a happy birthday, if you do a custom name, whatever, this is how you create them. I'm going to give you design tips. I'm going to give you structure tips. So be sure to jot those down somewhere. Now for the actual cake stakes, you very rarely need anything more than 5 inches high and 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to unlock that setting, put 0.25, and here you go. Please don't put a point on these. You don't need it, and it just increases liability. Now for text, I'm going to show you 3 different options. The first one is going to be something really frilly, beautiful, and thin is the optional thing. This here is perfect for something with the backing. If you put it on a backing, it's going to last. It's going to last in shipping. It's going to last in handling. So that everything calligraphy is perfect if you have a backer, but not good for what we're doing. The second one I'm going to tell you is Girl Talk, which is a very popular font for this because it is nice and thick. Now, one in the middle is called Hello Crayon. It's HELO Crayon. I have used this for this and it works, but you kind of have to add an offset. And I'm really trying to show you how to do this without it. So it just means that we're going to measure a couple of things to determine which of these is best. Now, I'll just tell you, these two are not great because the thickness of our cake topper, this part, the stake, is not where the strength for this design comes from. It's actually within the text. So if we just expand this text and we just, make it all the same size. So we're expanding it exactly the same. And now I'm just going to show you the differences in the expanded text. This one's way up here. So not only is that S just horrible on the everything calligraphy, but again, we have to keep our cake stake in mind and how we build this. So this is the one that has the thickest joins at the right size. You can increase the size, but that's going to increase the overall design dimensions. And you have to keep that in mind. People aren't, building 24-inch wide cakes, right? Usually we want to stay within 7 and 10 inches for our cake toppers, and you'll see I'll actually not size this until I like my design. Here's how I determine. So you can see I just created a little rectangle, and that is 0.257, this A portion. These little pieces are, I don't know, a 100th. So we want to make sure that we are really having some structure. So another thing I get asked about a lot when it comes to fonts is kerning. So XCS calls this spacing, but that's exactly what it is. It's just the distance between each individual letter prior to welding it or combining it. So you can see here I'm playing with it, and you can see how these letters interact with each other, overlap. Those overlaps do not go away when you weld. So I'll show you a way to get rid of them in just a second, but we want to make sure that we explore all of our options. And the first option I want you to explore is this. This is curving the text. We use this in design. Before you weld it, you're going to curve the text. And guess what? If you don't weld it, you can still play with this kerning. It's amazing. You don't have to do that in any other order. If you do it out of order, XCS will limit what you can do. So you can see I can still adjust the 0.75 kerning. I can change it to 0.25. I can change it to 5. It doesn't matter. But if what we're doing is it gives us a strong join, it gives us the ability to build on the cake, cake stake. I'm now going to look at these two items and I'm going to say, I think these two together need to be a little bit smaller, because this portion right here, I want it to be about 8.5 inches wide. That is usually a good thing. 7 to 9 inches is a really good one. All right, so I'm just going to go back up a little bit. I'm just looking at the size of this one. By the way, we will be getting rid of any tails on the end like that. So I think I like this design minus these tails for the for the birthday. And now we can like repeat it. Okay. We can still now weld it. So we still have the option. We're not going to do that right now, but you still have the option to weld it later. So now I'm going to mirror or mimic the same thing I did in birthday with happy. And that's just a little bit. It doesn't even have to be the same angle. Make sure you understand, it does not have to be the same angle. You can go more, you can go less. What we're looking for here is where the joins are occurring. We need this to be joined in about 3 places. If we do that, this will last through shipping. This will last through handling. This will last through your little one pulling it off of the cake. Okay, so you can see I'm kind of playing with it a little more. We always want to make sure that each of these letters stays legible. If you want, you can go ahead and change the score to engrave, and that will give you a little bit better idea. But if I reduce this, I can still have a nice little join here on the D. I can look, I have 2 joins on the D actually with the P and the other P. I can also join the Y, but I'm going to unlock this and I'm going to spread out this top a little bit so we have more delineation between the letters. We still have multiple points of contact, at least 3. And now I'm going to actually, I think I like most of it. Again, we're getting rid of the Y. I like how it's moving. I'm actually, I think, going to adjust this a little bit more. So I love this font. By the way, it's called Girl Talk, but I'm going to, I think I'm going to bring this in just a little bit. I've got, so I'm going to weld the happy separately from the birthday. Here we go. Just weld both of them. I'm going to bring this in. So I'm going to leave the happy as it is, but I wanted a little more delineation with this T underneath the H. And again, if you want to select everything and change it to engrave, it will give you a better idea. But you just want all these letters up here to be defined. We're not looking for blobs. We're going to use our design element to strengthen this thing. I'm going to weld each of them, and then I'm going to come over here to the object menu, hit combine and unite. It's the first option, and now that's all one piece except for the I dot, and I'm going to take away these little guys. Okay, so now we have to strengthen our design and add some design elements. So I have a big hole over here, but that's okay. You can add an animal, you can add a number, like a number 1 if it's their first birthday or whatever, but I'm going to add a star. I hate the pointy against this nice flowy script, so I'm going to go into edit node and double click each of these 5 points, and that will round them out. Now we have a nice playful little star for a younger kid. So now I'm going to duplicate that. Now, because we have 1, we're going to have at least 3. That's just a design element, 3s and 5s. It occurs in nature. Promise, look it up. It's great. So if you design in 3s, well, we only have 2 over here. We're going to have a 3rd one over at the end to really round out our design. So I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm going to just make it a little smaller. And I'm going to copy and paste this one and bring it back on this end. I need to put that in place before I remove the little like swashes on the Y, because I want to make sure that I have enough like rounded dimension in this. So I'm just going to flop it. I'm going to turn it a little bit and put it so it connects the 2 Y's here on the end. That adds stability and again follows our design elements. So you may be thinking, well, how am I going to take off the Y swashes if I have this star in place? Don't worry, all you're going to do is just grab the stars if you want, whatever ones you want, hit group, and then you're going to go into layers panel in the bottom left and just lock that. Leave it on. So you can leave the star on or you can take it off, but just make sure you lock it. So there's a couple ways that you can remove these swashes. The easiest is just to create a rectangle. I'm going to show you what it looks like here in engrave. That right there, we're just going to cut it off. So we're just going to take a rectangle. We're also going to repeat it because the Y's are very similar. So I'm going to place it where I like it to be on the edge of the Y. As close as I can get it. Doesn't have to be exact. I'm going to duplicate that, set it aside, grab the Y and the happy birthday, and instead of combine, I'll hit subtract. Bye-bye swash. Now we're going to do it with the second one, and don't worry about that bump. We're going to get that bump. I promise. Do the same thing with subtract here. And now we're going to go into edit nodes. Here you go. And then I'm not going to zoom in very closely, but if you can't see it, zoom in 700, 900 points. We're just going to highlight those little ones that are sticking out. And then if we highlight them and hit delete, look at this. It's better. excuse me, you can actually keep making it a little better if you want. You can add a rectangle to even that out. I don't care. I'm going to put a star there. So I'm going to do the same thing down here. Remove the ones that are sticking out. Oh, I just didn't hit it. Highlight and then remove the ones that are sticking out. Hit done and biggity bam, we're done. Isn't that easy? I just think that's it's so much easier than going and doing all the things in Illustrator. So now I'm just going to unlock the stars so that we can actually weld this all together. Oh, I have to ungroup that too. I don't know why I grouped that. All right, so I'm really liking the design except the eye. So if we were to cut this out after grouping everything together, the eye would still be like some random dot at the bottom of our laser. So we're going to remove the eye two ways, or you can do it two ways. You can go into nodes or you can do it my quick and easy way because I'm so impatient. I don't like waiting. I'm going to create my eye circle and then I'm going to create another circle right over this guy. Look at that. Oh, you can change this to engrave to make sure it's going to cover and also make sure it doesn't cover any of the actual letter I, just that it covers the circle. You're going to select the circle and the happy birthday, and then you're just going to hit combine subtract. Doot, and it's gone. And then we drag and drop this guy right so it's touching. Now you can make that circle bigger, you can make it smaller, whatever makes your heart happy. Just make sure it's connected. That's all. See, we just have to make sure it's connected. By the way, to zoom in, you can hit Command or Control plus, or you can go down to the bottom right. All right, so now I'm going to select everything and we can combine unite it because we're done with that. Isn't that nice and easy? You just made a cake topper. And you can make these anything, custom names and numbers, events, whatever. So I'm actually going to go 8.5 for the max of this one. And then that will help me determine my cake stakes. So I may have mentioned this is too large for a single cake stake. It's only 3.3 inches high, but it's pretty wide at 8.5. So we're going to use 2 of these stakes. Where we put these stakes is going to matter. So you have to think, you don't know as a seller, you don't know where they're going to put it, right, on a cake or a cupcake or whatever. So you have to keep in mind where we put these is going to matter. Not only in the structure of the item, but it's going to matter on their special day. So I'm going to tell you that we don't ever want to put anything on these really thin joins. If you want, grab a rectangle and just measure that. I bet 100. Yeah, it's 0.075 wide. That's not going to be a strong place to join it. So let's delete that and add a rectangle on the thicker part of the A. That's 1/4 of an inch. That's where we're going to put it. It's pretty even with our stake. It's not going to affect the design. So we're going to look for 2 places. One is here and one will be the A. Now the first thing we want to do is just align these 2 at the bottom. And that will make it a little easier for us. You can adjust the height of those as well. We're going to lock the vector that we created, the stars and the happy birthday, so that we only work inside the cake stakes. And we do not affect the vector, but we do want to leave it visible because it's going to be very important. So I'm going to click each of these and adjust the nodes. First, I'm going to raise them up as far as I can without them really interfering with the design. And then you can see it's not perfect over here. So what we need to do now is we need to click it and go to Edit Node. It'll pop up once you click it on the right-hand side. And now we can adjust. Never adjust left and right like that. Just adjust up and down. Now you may say, Sarah, there's a gap here. Okay, look, watch. I'm going to show you. Up here, I have an arrow. When I drag my cursor over the path, I get a pen. If I click on the pen, I make a node. See that? Now I can highlight that node and adjust only that node up. And then that little hole will go away. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. And now when we connect everything, this whole thing will look like one piece. And now we're going to do the same thing for this other one. Again, click it, go into Edit Node. Remember, you cannot move that in. You have to move it up and down. Easy. We're still going to have a solid piece of acrylic, so we hit Done. Look at that. That's so nice. Okay, so we're going to unlock that vector as we want to be able to join all this stuff. Again, you've already aligned the bottom down here, so you don't have to affect it. And now always do one little extra thing. You can go ahead and combine this here, combine unite. I want to show you a tip about the spacing If you like, you can always turn the image to engrave just to see how you like things. If there's going to be any joins that break or in shipping, any fail points, I always like to look at it inside of engrave. However, I want to talk about when we're looking at this size of this, we're not just looking at the size of the piece. We're looking at the size between these two stake points. You can see it's 3.3 inches. That means it'll still fit in a really large cupcake. It'll still fit on a cake of any size. So just keep those in mind when you're designing your own cake toppers. So you can see it made such quick work of this. Look at this. I got to pop out that little Y, but beautiful. This is X-Tool Glitter Acrylic. Now that is it for me today. I talked about how to bring in an SVG, how to design your own, using 467 MP for the quote glue. There are more tips on the website. Be sure to join the Facebook group, and thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Be sure to like this video and subscribe for more laser crafting fun.